I gotta wait. How long I gotta wait for a press record?
Go.
Welcome to the stand, where Miss Dream always has a story.
It's Dream, and we got a season 2. Your Black Bostonian here, a product of a single mother who I work to make proud every single day. I'm a 3-degree holder, your veteran educator, your tech entrepreneur, and founder of the Chair platform. My platform is dedicated to supporting Black and Brown people on their hair journey by creating hair boards, connecting to hairstylists, and sharing haircare tips for a more joyous experience. My podcast is about sharing hair stories, educator stories, entrepreneurship stories, and stories surrounding identity with goals to leave you laughing, learning, and advocating. So come in and listen to the stories in the chair.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Hey, beautiful people. This is Beauty. Beauty, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Beauty, born and raised on the East Coast of Massachusetts, and I'm here to have a great conversation with a good friend.
Beauty, the first time I met Beauty, my mother was creating these curvy women pageants. And so she said, hey, I need a photographer. Take the photos. And and at the time, I had self-identified as like street photographer and portraiture, and I was only working in film. Now, my mother needed me to be a digital
Fashion photographer.
fashion high editorial photographer. So I took on the challenge, and I was able to meet Beauty because you were one of the contestants.
Yes, I was one of the contestants. It's hard to believe. It seems like a lifetime ago, like a totally different life. But yes, I had the best time that day. As the first pageant I'd ever done, I had gone there with a friend actually who was going to be in the pageant, who came to interview for the pageant, and she just happened to say, "Do you want to walk too?" And I was like, "Sure, I guess so." And I ended up in the pageant, so it was a lot of fun. I met some incredible people.
Yeah, it was a beautiful time.
It was.
Photographing everyone. I was still in high school at the time. And so I was just seeing all of these beautiful women come together, seeing my mother create this space with my aunt, Lisa. And so it was really cool to see it all come together in that form. I was really excited to have you on the podcast because you have such a beautiful spirit. And I feel it every time you're just in the house or in the room. I feel relaxed.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad.
And so I'm excited to have that same energy put into the podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. I'm curious to know, did you always know you wanted to be an artist?
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know if I knew I was going to do something. I didn't know what the something was. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But becoming an artist, it just kind of made sense. I had always written poetry when I was a child. My aunt got me my first journal at 9 years old. And I started writing then. And I only put like a line in my journal, but as I got older, it became deeper and then it became poetry. That part of my life has run quietly under everything else that I've been trying to accomplish. I've always been in customer support, so starting my own business was a natural direction for me to go in. Believe it or not, I'm a paralegal. I was going to be an attorney. So my whole life got upended after I had a car accident, and it just changed my perspective and my direction of my life. And I decided that I was going to put me first and take care of me first. And that was the mistake I made the day of the car accident, is that I did not put myself first. So it definitely pointed me in the right direction in my life. And from that point, I did things that allowed me to help people to feel better and to move forward. I volunteered time to work with a group in Boston where you could become an advocate that played with children at homeless shelters. And that allowed the parents to go to classes on learning financing and how to budget and different ways to set set up housing so that once they got out of the shelter, they were prepared to move forward. And it was great because playing with kids, I mean, it was a perfect job because I love childlike energy. So I did that for a little while before I decided that I would start my business. And my business was a spiritual advisor. So I worked with tarot, I'm a Reiki. Gosh, there's a whole line of things that I do. Ear candling, and I work with children and animals, and I make candles and aromatherapy products. So there's a whole list of things that I got into because it's like the world opened up and all these possibilities. And then I became a yoga instructor. So it's interesting. If you look at my life, I look like the person who has no direction. But in fact, because of all the things that occurred, all the things that happened around me, I actually did get direction from the universe that brought me to a point where I'm more secure with who I am and the decisions that I make. And I completely trust that as long as I trust the universe, that it will always lead me in the right direction.
Did you ever feel along these different paths that you were taking anxious? I feel that that's where I'm at now, where I never saw myself as this type of creative. Not that I couldn't. It just, for me, I had this very specific definition of an artist. And because I chose not to be a professional photographer or a professional poet, it feels weird to me that I'm finally going back in that direction, even though I still love teaching, I still love education. I'm building a tech platform on the side. I feel like I'm doing all of these things, but there was a part of me that's always been, no, I thought you just have a cool hobby in that one job.
Right. Yeah, no, anxiety is my best friend. I've learned, no matter how much medication I take, I've learned that my anxiety is actually my body's, my spirit's way of readjusting to whatever this newness is that's coming. And I can't always define what that newness is going to be. I just trust that the universe will eventually show me what it is. And so I used to think anxiety was a bad thing. Sometimes I still do. But for the most part, my anxiety is letting me know that there is a shift and a change that's coming. And I may not be the most comfortable with it because I'm a little OCD in the respect that for the longest time I believed, you pick a path and you go on that path and you try not to deter from that path because that is what's going to bring you to this place where you're all knowing, whatever that means to whomever. But I found that I'm just not very good at directions and that to trust it keeps my blood flowing to trust the universe and just be. And I don't know if that makes a lot of sense because I feel like I just went in a big circle, but anxiety, it helps me to know that something is coming that is going to drastically change my direction and that I just need to figure out a way to find peace with it because it's going to happen whether I want it to or not.
Is there no fear in that?
Oh, there's definitely fear. I have social anxiety. I can walk in a room and know everybody there and not say hello to anyone because of the fear that comes from just opening my mouth and letting words come out. I'm not the most secure in conversation as I'd like to believe that I am. So I do have social anxiety. I have fear of crowds. There's a lot of fear that I have, but I find that I could either choose to stay under the fear or balance myself alongside the fear and figure out what is actually causing that emotion. What is causing that feeling? Is it fear of the unknown? Is it fear of failure? Is it fear of, oh my God, I'm doing something that I've never done before. And what happens if, it doesn't work? I mean, there's so many things that can bring about fear. But once you're able to sit with it and figure out exactly what it's representing, then it's easier to work with.
Where we share stories in the chair.
Look, it's my commercial. We will be right back.
It's more than just a bad hair day. It's a journey. Finding the right hairstyle isn't easy, nor is finding the right stylist or the right products. Looking in every corner of the web gets messy, overwhelming, and exhausting. All the ads, the articles, the products, the videos, it shouldn't be this hard, but it is. And now, it isn't. The Chair. A black and brown centered platform where you can design hair boards, connect to hairstylists, and share hair care tips for a new, joyful path on your hair journey. Avoid the clutter, save yourself hours, months, and even years of research and poor trial and error. Everything you need and only what you need is in one place. Hair boards made by people like you, for you. Find the right products, the right people, the right answers for you, stress-free. Join the Chair community and make every day a great hair day. When you share your pain, you allow others to help you. And when you share your success, you help others get theirs. Lean on the Chair. We got you. No stress, no strife. In the chair, the chair, the chair. All right.
Do you see that as a superpower since you have had so many worlds where customer service is at the forefront? Spiritual advisor, tarot reader, Reiki professional. All of these are all customer facing, fear driven, or fear receiving from other people's energy towards you. Do you see yourself being so self-aware that it becomes a superpower?
Wow. I kind of like that idea. But like I've never thought of it as a superpower, but I guess it could be. One of the things I learned early on is that for whatever reason, people are comfortable in speaking to me. I had really short story. I had, in my 20s, I was with my cousin in downtown Boston, and we were just coming from lunch and walking and chatting, and this woman is coming at me. Never seen her before, have no idea where she came from, and she dropped in the middle of a conversation with me about what she had to do for the day and how this affected her, and she just went on and on and on, so I just said, uh-huh, and I kind of listened and just let her say what she needed to say, and at the end she said, "Thank you so much." And I said, "You're welcome." And my cousin looked at me and she said, "Who was that?" I said, "I have no idea." I mean, literally this woman who I'd never seen in my life. And she just was like in the mid-conversation with me by the time she got to me. And she thanked me for that. And I was like, wow, that's scary. That's a lot of pressure also, because I just took in all of this woman's stuff. But at the same time, I realized that I'm able to take it in and figure out a way to filter it out. So it's not stuck with me or on me or to me. One of the things I had to learn in working with energy is how to disperse energy, because I am, as one of my teachers told me, a very high empath. So I have the ability to make you feel great. Let's say you walked in with a headache. I could take your headache and you feel great by the time you leave, but I've got the headache now. And she said that I had to learn how to not hold on to whatever that pain or that disruption is, figure out a way to dispel it. And I learned, it took a while, but I learned slowly through energy and meditation and carrying of gemstones and learning how to take specific type of baths and different oils that could help me to rid myself of the ability to take on other people's stuff. And in that, it brought me to a place where I don't have to really think about it as much. And it also brought me to a place to think of spirit or ancestors that could help me to disperse these things. So like, for instance, my grandfather, who had a great sense of humor, is one of my ancestors. And I put him in charge of keeping, because one of the things, I'm not sure if you know, I'm also a medium. So I have people come to me at different times. And at one point I was getting bombarded by people that either knew me or knew somebody who knew me, or go out as many levels as you want to. It was getting overwhelming. So I put my grandfather in charge of making sure that before the people got to me, they understood the directions on how to approach me. Do not approach me in the shower. I had a problem with that. Just stay out of the bathroom. And at the time, I had a partner who was completely against what I did for religious reasons, and also because he didn't believe that what I did was possible. So I was like, don't come anytime that he's around, especially if we're sleeping, because I don't want to disrupt him or make him feel uncomfortable with what I can do. So there was, it was a list, but it was a short list of things that anybody who has crossed over, or anybody who's even in the space between, before they come to me, they need to understand that this is how they need to approach me. And I've used my ancestors in different ways, doing different things like that. My grandfather, again, like I said, he has a sense of humor. He has brought people through because he thought it was funny. So, but it's fun in the respect that, first of all, a lot of people say medium. You talk to dead people. Yes, I do. That's something that actually is the first thing that came to me as a spiritual experience, is having people who have crossed over come to me.
Was this before the car accident?
This was before. This was when I was young. It started as dreams. I would have dream sequences that would happen every night the exact same way. And sometimes they were fun, they were exciting, flying on hangers and falling. But it became like the first time that I realized that it was prophetic, which I didn't know that word at the time, but my great-grandmother had a friend who was in the hospital, was very sick, and it was a mental health issue, and she just wasn't sure. My great-grandmother was a very religious woman, very, very religious woman, and she wasn't sure if this woman was going to make it out of the situation she was in, but it was a dear close friend of hers. And for some reason, I started to have a dream every night of her standing in a windowsill, like standing on a windowsill in my grandmother's house. She had the big windows that came from like almost the ceiling to the floor. Mm-hmm. And the woman was wearing a hospital gown. She had white hair. It was a white woman. And all of a sudden she would just free fall. Now, I'd never see her hit the ground, but it would always be her stepping onto the windowsill, putting her arms out, and free falling. And that happened for about 5 days, and then it stopped. And it really disturbed me, because it was somebody that I knew. It was my great-grandma's house, and it was her dear friend. And, I didn't tell anybody, because how do you tell somebody that, you just saw this woman free fall out of a window? And who's going to believe me? I'm a kid. Mm. Well, it turns out the day that it stopped was the day that the woman committed suicide. That shook me to my core. And my mother was a person who did not believe in what she called hoodoo voodoo, which now we embrace as a word, but back then that wasn't a good thing. And she would call psychics, fake. And so I, for the longest time, ran away from everything that seemed like it came from outside of me, and basically ran around with my fingers in my ears going blah, 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 blah. Like I did not want to hear it. But things kept coming back to me in different ways. And I could go longer into the story. So much happened when I was younger that brought me to this place now where I don't doubt anything. I really don't. It's hard for me to not trust that it's real. If not for me, it's real for the person that I'm speaking with, or the person that I'm hanging out with. It's their reality.
So do you have... For me, I call it like a spiritual menu in my head. Tabitha Brown was talking about this, how she's just a hearer. Someone says it to her and she has to say it, mm-hmm. even if she doesn't understand where it's going. Do you have that where they're going to keep knocking until you talk to them, or you deliver the message and then they disappear?
Absolutely. That's another place where I have some funny stories, but one of them is that I had decided that I would add medium to my list of things that I could do, and I put in my pamphlet. I don't know why I did that, but I thought that I could sit down with a person for a certain period of time and I could talk to someone that crossed over for them. But what I was finding is if I did it that way, nobody would come. Or they'd come and they'd say like 2 words and then they'd disappear. And I was like, okay, so I am a medium, but not in the typical way a medium works.
Like the Long Island lady.
Yeah, well, I have a theory on her. She interrupts too many people. But no, honestly, what I believe, and this is no disrespect whatsoever, I believe that she has a gift, absolutely no doubt. But the problem is she never shuts down. I learned in the line of work that I do that if you remain open all the time, I believe that it wears you down. And I also believe that that's a bit of where schizophrenia comes from. Schizophrenia is the ability to hear and feel everything all at once and not be able to decipher it. So when a person who is schizophrenic has a conversation with you, they're speaking from so many different angles that it sounds like gibberish to a lot of people. But if you really sit down and listen and piecemeal what they're saying, I believe that you can actually make categories that will make sense to you. So that has always been my theory. If you are, as the Long Island woman is, a psychic a medium who has people come to you and have an urgent message to get to someone all the time, that would wear on anybody. And I think what happens is she, in effect, becomes intrusive to the people that the message needs to come to. Like if you watch the show and somebody's having dinner with their family, that's not exactly a time that you want to go over and say that your Aunt Trudy has a message for you. It's better if they come to you or if you find another time to disrupt them, because a lot of people aren't open to that either. You know, to walk up to a stranger and say, I have a message from someone who passed away, it can freak out some people. And I believe that she is very good at what she does. She gets very clear messages. I just think that the way that she does it is not only harmful to the person that she has a message for, but I think eventually it's going to be harmful for her.
So what about you? Is your grandfather the doorman? In my head, I see that.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I see that scene in Hercules where they're going down the boat and then there's the people who are guarding the door. This is what I imagine.
It's on point because that's exactly what he is. You just got to picture him in khakis and a 3-button, like comfortable cotton shirt. That's my grandfather. And he just thinks, and he used to smoke cigars. So now he's smoking again because, hey, why not? And you got to picture him with a big fat stogie telling people, listen, this is my great granddaughter. And, you know, these are the rules that she wants you to have. So, yes, you're correct. I had to put gatekeepers in the way because I felt that I would get to a point that it would be too overwhelming for me. And I had spirit trying to get to me in every way possible. I had everything from, you know, the pedestrian signs that you see, the people with the round heads and the crosswalk signs.
Yep.
I forget what they're called. But the symbol of the person crossing the street at the crosswalk, I would have those bouncing around in my apartment, like peeking out at me. And I know that sounds crazy because it is. But that's how spirit tried to figure out how to get to me by scaring me, by entertaining me, by making me question things. And I was like, just stop. Like, I'm not ready for this because, again, I was running around with my fingers in my ears and saying, la, 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 I don't want to do this because I believed that it was a negative. But once I figured out to work with it and to ask, like I said, my grandpa, you know, can you please just, because I don't want to be washing my hair, open my eyes and have somebody in the shower with me. It's not a good thing. I'm naked and I'm washing my hair. Go away. So he's like my bumper. He's my doorman. He's the person that keeps that in control.
Oh, and if you're interested to learn more about my experiences as a Black woman and educator in Guangzhou, China, I wrote my first ebook titled Nowhere and Everywhere, Captured Emotions of a Beautifully Broken Love Story. It is on lulu.com. Take a read and see some beautiful photography of mine. Enjoy the rest of the show.
the chair.
I also have learned to shut myself down when it gets too much, because I did get to a point where it became too much, and I had a situation where a mental break came, and I got a lot of help, and I'm much better now. But there was a point at which I was questioning everything, including, am I really a psychic or am I just hearing voices? It really brought me to a place that was very low. And at the same time, I was also expending way too much energy trying to take care of other people other than myself. So yes, the gatekeepers help. Having people around me physically, that my friends, that understand that there are times when I just can't talk. It's not that I'm being dismissive, but I just need to be, I call it being in my cocoon, and that when I'm better, I'll be a butterfly and I'll get in touch with you. So when I say cocoon to my friends, they understand and they just kind of back away and give me my space. That is how I take care of the times that get too much.
What would your argument be for people who are maybe not believers of spiritual practices such as this, and they just consider it a mental health disorder, or how you were explaining earlier about schizophrenia being different than being a medium? What is the argument there?
The argument there is that schizophrenia, like I said, in my belief, is a person who is so open that they're getting everything. They're getting all the senses, hearing, feeling, sensing. They're getting it all, but all at once. And it's taken over their ability to speak clearly, to have a conversation with someone clearly, to navigate their life in a way that would be good for them. Like they're basically out of control. And honestly, I don't know if they have to be in control. I think that is just what they're supposed to be. That's what they're supposed to do. And unfortunately, to live in this society, you can't be like that, running around the streets, talking to yourself and doing all the things that a person that may be diagnosed with schizophrenia does. And there's, of course, many different levels to that mental health issue. The difference between that and a person who is a spiritual advisor is that, yes, I get as much information, but I am able to navigate. I have the ability to navigate. And I look at it as, well, again, I don't want to be dismissive towards anybody who has any kind of mental health issues, because believe me, I have them too. But I think that there's a very fine line between the two, between the ability to navigate your life and other people's information and not being able to navigate any of it for whatever reason. And in some cases that can be, you've never been nurtured as a child. You had to figure out all this all by yourself and you weren't very good at it. Or you were very good at it, and what you consider control, others consider being out of control. So schizophrenia, I believe, it's a gift like anything else, but it's about whether or not you've had someone help you navigate what you're going through compared to a psychic who is just as open and affected by the things around them, but they've learned how to navigate it. They're people that are chosen by the universe to spread a message or to be able to communicate between the worldly and the otherworldly. Now, the other thing is, too, a lot of people believe that it can be negative. A lot of people think it can be positive. And there's the other ones that are just they don't really care. The people who are negative believe that you're opening a gateway to demons and negative energy and bad things around you. And I'm not at all saying that is not a possibility. But for me, I don't believe in a heaven and hell or a good and a bad. I believe it all exists in the same place. I think the difference is that when a psychic is talking to someone, they decide what type of people they will accept.
Okay.
So I do not accept people that are going to give me bad news or going to create havoc in someone's life or my life, because that is not what I'm here to do. What I'm here to do is to help people to move forward and to heal. That does not fall into place with what I do.
Is it like giving someone a final letter, like a goodbye?
Yes. What I ended up doing is, instead of having mediumship as a service that I offered on my brochure.
Mediumship. Mediumship.
I mix it in with my tarot readings. My deck of cards that I've chosen is hysterical. So much so that I bought 3 or 4 copies of the same one because they were no longer printed. And it's ironic because they ended up showing up in, I don't know if you remember, but Beyonce had done a movie, I think it was on BET, where she may have played Carmen. But whoever it was that she played, it was a hip hop opera kind of thing where Beyonce played a tarot card reader and she had my deck. So I was like, okay, then I obviously picked the right deck for me because there it is. But they no longer make it. And people who have come for readings with me have walked out with a smile on their face. And that doesn't mean that everybody had the perfect reading, but it means that I was able to give them answers that help to soothe any kind of worry that they have before they spoke to me. And that can be good news, that can be bad news. I've had events where a person came to get a reading from me and they had a grandparent that they had not spoken to for many years for a reason that I can't remember, but they knew that the person was in the hospital and that they were sick, and their worry was, should they go and see them or not, and do they want to speak with them? And my immediate message was, leave here now, go and sit with your grandmother and tell her everything that you need to tell her. Whether you think that she's prepared to hear it or not, go and take care of it. She did, and the grandmother passed the following morning. But she came back to me. She invited me to the funeral and what we would call a repast. And it was for a Japanese family, which I'd never experienced before, but it was amazing. They send off people in such a beautiful way. She invited me because she wanted to thank me, because if she had not received that message as clearly as I had given it to her, her grandmother would have passed and she would have never have been able to share with her what she did and find peace. So that's the kind of stuff that I do with my mediumship is I will be given information, and in some cases it may not be what you want to do, but I'm being told it for a reason. There's going to be a good outcome that comes from it. Sometimes the information can be very specific, but whatever I hear, it's not my place to edit it. I tell it exactly as I hear it, as I feel it, as I see it. And my job is to be able to give that information to you in a way that you understand what your job is once you leave my presence. And it sounds pretty heavy when I put it that way, but it is honestly my job. I'm here to help. Like I said, customer service has been since my very first job. I've always been in customer service. I've also been the quirky one. In high school, I was friends with all of the cliques because I refused to be friends with one clique that wouldn't speak to another clique. So people knew me as the one that just got along with everybody.
Do people come back to you multiple times?
Yes. I had a customer that was with me for about 3 years. That came every week, or if not every other week, to help him through a situation that he was going through with an organization that he was involved in. And I helped him weekly with steps to do. And once he did all the steps, it came out with the exact outcome that he wanted. So those are the kind of customers that are actually fun, is to be able to see the actual fruition of the information that I'm able to give them, see what the end game is, to see that it actually did turn out to be a good ending for them. That brings me joy. Sometimes I may see a person once and never see them again. It's more often than not. Sometimes I have the people that come to me and really don't believe what I do. And I know them because those are the people that'll say, "What is my name?" To which my response is, "I'm sorry, but does that mean that you don't know what it is?" Because that's not what I do. Like, if you don't know your name, we've got bigger problems. So, but yeah, I try to make it a fun experience. I try to make it an experience that lets them know that it's okay to talk to someone who does the work that I do, that my higher power is the one that guides me. And for anybody, that can be anyone or anything or anywhere, whatever they choose their higher power to be, whether it be God or Gaia or just trees, whatever gives you the ability to believe in something bigger than yourself. I think that everybody should be able to do that. Everybody has the right to do that, and everybody deserves to have that. It makes life much easier to think that you're not the one that has to make all the decisions on your own. You know, that you have someone there that actually looks out for you. And that's where I root everything, is that there's a higher power that is there to guide me. And the work that I do is not to hurt or harm anyone in any way. And as long as I stay on that path, I figure that whatever happens for a reason.
Beauty, thank you so much for sitting in the chair and sharing your stories. I truly, truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. I had the best time. I told you I walked in here and I felt completely relaxed and just planned on having a great conversation. So another thing I can check off my bucket list.
Welcome to the chair, where Miss Dream always has a story.
Thank you for listening to an episode of The Chair. I'm going to share with you a dream of mine. I would love to be on Sesame Street. Sesame Street held my hand through childhood. In my dream, I would be in my big afro or rainbow braids sitting on the stoop sharing hair stories. I would like your help, please, by doing all the things like leave a review, share it with someone who would benefit from hearing this episode. And if you know someone who knows someone who knows someone at Sesame Street, share your favorite episode with them, and I'll make you some of my famous chocolatey hot chocolate. I hope you have a beautiful day, or if you are like me, still up in the middle of the night, I hope you take a deep breath and rest. Love you. Talk to you later.
The chair.
Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
Dream, hello. I just wanted to tell you you're wonderful. I just got through going through your podcast. Love you, love you, love you, love you. Keep it up. Maybe I need to send it to Oprah and Tyler Perry. Love you, baby. You are great.
Where we share stories in the chair.